All right. Let's go.
All right. Hello, and welcome to the 6th episode of Ice in My Veins podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy,
I'm Patrick.
and we're back after a long hiatus. It's been a while, but a lot has happened, and we're ready to cover it. But first of all, the first thing I want to discuss is an upcoming game, the All-Star game,
Yes.
and the All-Star starters, and what we think about it, and what we think should have been changed. So, do you have any opinions you want to share on this, Pat?
Well, I think let's just go over the 10 players that are the starters right now. Right.
Yeah, right.
So, in the Western Conference, it is for backcourt players, Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, and then frontcourt players, Zion, LeBron, and Jokic.
Mm-hmm.
Then Eastern Conference, frontcourt players are Giannis, Tatum, Durant, and then backcourt players are Kyrie and Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, and I think this year's All-Star lineup it's solid. It's very well deserved, I think. But there are a couple things I would have changed about it. I want to start with the East Coast, since we're on the East Coast, right? So we have both Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving on the All-Star team. And I think although Kyrie has been having a great season, I think that Joel Embiid should have been in the spot of Kyrie Irving.
But so Joel cannot take Kyrie Irving's spot because
of front court, back
Yeah.
court. But then you could have just put Donovan into the Kyrie position, right?
so Kyrie and Donovan Mitchell are the two guards.
Oh,
They can only be replaced by another guard.
Oh, really?
So basically, if you look at the four best front court players in the Eastern Conference, right? It's Giannis, KD, Tatum, and Embiid in some order.
Mhm.
Only
That's
three of
correct.
those could make the team at maximum. So Embiid was the one who got left out.
Right, but can't you just put Tatum on the guard position? Kind
Yeah,
of, and
so-
if they really wanted to, I feel like there's not
I think the
a
way
rule
this
against it.
works is the NBA decides who's eligible for what.
Oh,
And
really?
I think it's partially based off of the position you've played most in the season or positions you've played most in the season. For all
Right.
NBA, I think the voters can select which slot the player goes into. But for All-Star, because it's based on the big fan vote where anyone can go on and vote, I think they actually get grouped into front court versus backcourt players.
right.
So I think unless the NBA decided to put Tatum as a guard, which he really isn't. He's never playing as one of the as either a shooting guard or point guard for the Celtics, and really in his career never has. It has to be a situation where you pick three out of those four. It is kind of funny because probably Embiid has had a better season than Kyrie or Donovan
Right.
Mitchell, right?
Yeah,
So
and
maybe
he's in
Donovan
the race
Mitchell's
for
close, but
MVP
yeah,
right
exactly,
now too,
right?
which is kind of ridiculous how
Yeah.
he's not even an All-Star starter. And when you have money that plays into it, whether you're not in the All-Star game,
But
right,
to
and the
be
starter,
fair,
it,
there's
matters.
You cannot. No contracts have a distinction between All-Star starter
And
All-Star.
versus, as
So
long as
it
you
is just
play in the
All-Star.
All-Star game,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
But how about NBA first team? I know that
Yeah. So actually,
is there a difference between NBA first team, second team?
in general,
Do you know?
contracts have moved away from using All-Star team
Mm-hmm.
as a metric
And
for
they use
incentive, contract
Right,
incentives,
mhm.
and then they use All NBA. I think this is. One clear reason for this, in my opinion, is that All-Star selection is based on 60% of the season. Right?
It
If you have
is.
a really good first half, you could be an all-star and then drop off in the second half, or the reverse, right? All NBA is at
Mhm.
least for the full season. I think all NBA also, because it's just media driven, is seen as more objective. You don't have Andrew Wiggins as a first team all NBA player.
That is true.
So I think
And-
they have different purposes, right? All NBA is really meant to be a media consensus of the best players in the NBA in a given year. Whereas All-Star Game is meant to be more of a celebration where the fans get to vote for their favorite players and it's more fun. So I think it's actually good that contracts have moved away from some of the All-Star stuff and switched towards All NBA.
I think it's also kind of a culture shift of the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Where the All-Star game used to be this very competitive game. You wanted to sauce some
Competitive
some
on
guys.
offense.
Competitive
Yeah.
on offense. You want to just but now it's really just it's very kind of casual game.
No, I've not watched the All-Star Game in 5 years.
Yeah, I mean it's you just want to see some cool shots.
I've just watched the
Curry
highlights
shooting.
afterwards.
Yeah, right. And but I think back back in the day, it was more of like I could totally cook you in this game, like East versus West game were better, like East Coast versus West Coast. But now, like I think like the players like aren't even like invested. All they want is a championship, and like especially as the money is moving away from the All-Star game, like it's more kind of just like a clout chase for people who normally wouldn't be in the All-Star game. But for players like Steph Curry, like LeBron, like KD even.
Right, it's the people that are on the fringe that are the ones that actually really care about getting it. Like Jared Allen's probably really happy to be selected as an All-Star last year. And Steph Curry for like his 11th time probably doesn't care that much. I think that's fair.
Right,
I think so. It is a good opportunity though for the league to showcase the personalities of its top players. Right? Like I almost think that's the direction they should go more in, and I think they kind of have with like this year they're doing the All-Star draft like right before the game starts. So like they're lining up all the All-Stars, and they're gonna do like LeBron picks someone, Giannis picks someone. So like I'm sure there'll be a lot of reactions, right? There'll be a lot of jokes. Like I think that's good, right? Because there's not that much time. Like you get post-game interviews or like stuff like that, but you really don't get that much of a chance to like showcase the players like personal side or like personalities and like I think it's a good way to make people fans of someone for more than just their game. If they see them like do something funny, it's like, oh, I like this guy.
No. And you see the new All-Star jerseys that came out?
I don't think they look that good.
They don't look that good. You know what I think they should bring back? They should bring back like you wearing your own team jersey.
Really? That's kind of a hot take.
I kind of like that, Yeah. It's like, I mean, like at the end of the day, it's not even like there's no point in being in the same uniform when the game doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So like as long as like maybe like they should do like maybe they can the players can like choose any like retired jersey.
That'd be cool.
Like design that like is their favorite of that team and rock it. So like you could have like the for the Raptors you could have the dinosaur, right? And then for like other teams they can like pick their retro ones. I really like the retro Grizzlies ones. I had the pants.
Those are iconic.
Like I feel like that's one thing that they should like change or bring back because I feel like that'd be like people would buy it because it's like kind of like significant to that year.
I mean, that's why the NBA
instead of just like a random like
jersey rotation, like constant
But I guess it doesn't really matter that much. And I want to compare this year's All-Star starters to last year's All-Star starters and how like it's a big shift. And I want to talk about how like what you said about the 60% of the season like really matters because DeMar DeRozan was an All-Star starter.
Yeah, that's crazy. But that's exactly what I'm saying, right? Like,
so
it was probably Giannis is in there, right?
Giannis, Embiid, Trae Young.
That's actually kind of sick.
DeMar, and KD was the East Coast starters for 2022, and I feel like that was kind of wild. I mean, like wild, not because like of how bad they're doing like this year, but I feel like it's like those like streaky like games. That like really like sold it. Like I remember like it was crossing to New Year. DeMar hit two game winners back to back, and that definitely sent him to the All-Star line. Definitely. It's like you just had to do like it's kind of like more like do something memorable in those like 60% of the like the league the regular season, and then you'll like be able to make it. And the West Coast had, I mean, everyone's the same except for John Morant is in it. That's a starter. Was a star last year, and Andrew Wiggins, who was voted because of the K-pop star.
Wait, so who? Zion is there?
No, Zion's not there. It's Steph Curry,
Zion,
Jokic, and LeBron. The people who
Steph, Jokic, LeBron, and then who the last two?
Ja and Andrew Wiggins.
And then this year it's
replaced
Zion and who's the last?
It was Zion and Luka.
Okay, yeah.
Which I think was like such a crazy. Yeah,
that's kind of. He actually
crazy,
had like not the best start.
He would have took in Andrew Wiggins' spot most likely.
No, because
because of the
the fucking backcourt, frontcourt nonsense.
Backcourt, like it is, yeah, right. He would have taken Ja's spot,
which honestly,
I feel like he should have last year. But Ja had a lot of clout last year.
Well, yeah,
because he was dunking on everybody.
It's also like Ja was way better than his average last year, especially the first half, and Luka was a fair bit worse than his average. It's just like that kind of evens out to be about the same level of player.
Yeah, and I think that when you Luka like didn't have the like he wasn't as like recognized as he is like right now because like Luka right now is like an MVP candidate. Not only has been keeping up his like numbers high, but with such great like efficiency.
Yeah,
I think that like really matters to his team. And also like Andrew Wiggins being there is like kind of like that was just a nutty situation.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised that even like they allowed it to happen. Because I feel like Andrew Wiggins is a player that shouldn't even been in the All-Star game at all. So like the votes, I feel like should have pushed him to be in the All-Star game, but not like be in like a starter. Right?
Yeah, but if you get enough votes as from the fan vote, you like sort of the way it's weighted, you're like guaranteed to be a starter.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy. Well, K-pop fans, have you heard of the new group called like New Jeans?
I have not heard.
It's been popping around. But the thing is like. It's like I've heard the songs are pretty good and there's like a bunch of dances and like I like all my like K-pop fans or friends are raving about it. But like the average age for that group is like 16. You know what I'm saying? There's like I'm like, bro, like you can't like stand somebody that's like like
I agree with that.
And it's kind of weird
people that are like 15 years old. Yeah,
because like
I feel like people in general, to be honest, but like.
Yeah, well, you're gonna get a lot of haters from that, but you used to stand Ben Simmons. What happened to that? Exactly. That's why that's a clear lesson that you shouldn't be standing people.
I still stand by Ben Simmons, but I don't think he's been a quality player this year. I just hope he can put in the work and get back on track. Okay, right. So who would you say is the best player that's not selected to be All-Star starter?
It's definitely Joel Embiid
for the Eastern Conference.
Eastern Conference, I want to say. I want to see a little more diversity. Like, so say you don't have Joel Embiid, right? Because of the front court, back court. But then I feel like Jalen Brunson should have been an all-star starter.
Really?
For like extra clout purposes,
so
like diversification. And I think he's one of the best guards in the league right now.
So you would put Jalen Brunson not just above Kyrie, but above Tyrese Halliburton, Drew Holiday.
Yes.
Jaylen Brown.
Yes.
Okay. So you think to this point in the season, Jaylen Brown's the number 2 guard in the East?
Wait, Jaylen Brown?
No, sorry, Jalen Brunson.
Jalen Brunson is the number 1 guard. I think like okay, so
number 1 guard?
No. Like after Kyrie, right?
Or after
and then like
Donovan Mitchell.
Tyrese Halliburton, I think like he could have been like an even matchup with Jalen Brunson.
Yeah.
But like a Knicks franchise is so big that I feel like you want to have that like just Knicks name out there.
So why didn't the Knicks fans show up to the polls then and vote?
Dude, I don't know. Maybe their internet was cut off.
The Knicks fans voted for Derrick Rose more than they voted for Brunson.
Well, that's because Derrick Rose has the culture. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying, like, Knicks fans could have made this happen. Like
they could have. And I honestly, I didn't. So like, what I realized, like, I didn't realize this until like halfway through like the All-Star voting is like you can vote multiple days. It's not like it's not like locked. Like I thought you vote one time, and then like you can't vote anymore. You can just vote multiple days. But like,
and there's some days where each vote counts 3x.
Dude, that's because like people in New York are always like hustling, doing shit.
We're too busy.
Like, dude, no one else, everyone in like fucking.
I can tell you from the Knicks Reddit, the Knicks fans are not too busy to vote for. Like those guys have a lot of time on their hands.
Yeah, but like I feel like casual in like Indiana, in buttfuck nowhere, like can like put in the votes every day because that's like the highlight of their day. You know what I'm saying? So. Other players that I think are up for consideration would be Jaylen Brown.
Mm-hmm. Jaylen Brown, actually, this surprised me a lot. He was voted as a starter by the media, which like I think is kind of cap.
I think Jaylen Brown is overhyped at the moment, but he's actually very good. I think like he's definitely like it's crazy. I think like Jaylen Brown's jump is something that is kind of like crazy to look at because I think it's a similar jump to like Ja, but something I actually saw before this happened. Like I remember like during the playoff games and like just watching the season like toward the end of last year, that like he actually has like a really deep bag and like he's actually really good, especially in pressure offense. You know what I'm saying? Something like instead of like foul merching, he'll like do like a crazy like fadeaway. You know, I think like he has that in his bag, and that takes a lot of pressure off Jason Tatum. So even though Jason Tatum gets a lot of like respect in that aspect. I mean, like obviously Jason Tatum is probably a better player, but like as a number 2,
he's a good
I think you see like kind of like a dynasty of like similar to like the old Celtics, right? The old Celtics dynasty. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Jason Tatum is like a Kevin Garnett like level player, then you have like a really solid second like Paul Pierce, and then you have a really solid point guard who isn't like crazy good like Rondo, right, to like Marcus Smart, but like he offers like a very good like piece in that in the making.
Yeah.
So
I think Jaylen Brown honestly like is way worse than either KG or Paul Pierce. Like those are both like clear Hall of Famers.
That's
I think,
true.
Like Jaylen Brown, like not quite on
well,
track for
that's
that.
why they're not technically a dynasty. They're not
Yeah.
a dynasty yet,
Yeah.
but it's like they're like that dynasty light. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah,
yeah.
and I think probably I would put him below Halliburton.
I would
as
put him
well
below
as
Halliburton too,
Kyrie and Donovan Mitchell.
because Halliburton's kind of leading his team.
Yeah.
With very little like, well, not I won't say little help, but
No,
their team is not very good.
They're 1-10 in their last 11 games when he's been out.
Yeah,
And before that, they were like 500, right? So like obviously that there's other factors that could affect that, but I feel like that is pretty clear that like he's keeping that team afloat.
yeah, but I think Brunson got the dog in him, and then he should have been the starter. But I'm also biased because Knicks fan.
Yeah, no, I respect that. I just I'm just mostly disappointed that the Knicks fans like didn't vote for Brunson that much.
Yeah, I feel like they.
Like, he's a dedicated fan base. I thought they could have gotten him at least into the mix, but he wasn't even in the top 4 for guards.
Yeah. Speaking of Knicks fans, and we went to a game recently,
We did.
and I think that like who the Knicks stan is like kind of weird because remember like when Obi Toppin is in the game, people
They
go
love
crazy,
Obi Toppin.
and I don't know, something about the energy or the air. I don't know what they're pumping out, but like when Obi Toppin scores, like I'm with it. But like when like Julius Randle just scores, it's like he's just doing his job. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
It's
I feel
like the flirting versus harassment meme. Like, you know what I'm talking about?
no,
Yeah, I'll show you later.
yeah, but like it's like, and like watching that game, like it just was very interesting. So me and Pat, just a little background. For the Chinese New Year game, or like Lunar New Year, technically, since you want to include all the Asian countries, but this is our thing. But I ain't gonna get into that. But for the Lunar New Year game, me and Pat, we went to the game. It was Knicks versus Cavs. Everybody was basically healthy playing.
Yep. Besides Mitchell Robinson, but
Yeah,
like,
but-
everyone
I feel like that didn't actually maybe
No, I think,
I don't think
Hartenstein played pretty well.
he did play
I don't
well.
think Sims played that well, but
I think it would have I don't think it changed the game that much.
yeah, I agree.
But it was very interesting how both offenses ran, and how the Knicks won was kind of like it was like high skill but also high luck. You know what I'm saying? I feel they shot like 60% from the 3, which is like unheard. It's like not unheard of, but it's very rare.
Yeah,
I'd say.
no team can consistently shoot that.
Can
It's
shoot that,
partially
yeah.
good luck. Yeah,
It's partially good luck, right? And it's not that like they weren't playing perimeter defense either. Like a lot of those shots were semi-contested, right?
yeah,
They
I
weren't
agree
like
with that. I agree with that.
completely open.
Yeah.
And like that's what like led us to lead the game and also like sustain that lead because we were not playing like I would say it like shooting threes at that percentage is not like solid like scoring basketball, right? You want to be able to try to get someone open, like do like layups, like I said, picks for drives, things of that sort. Those are solid play, and that's where I saw the Cavs doing more, but like they just couldn't get it done because the threes were too high on the Knicks side. How'd you feel about it?
It was a great game. It was fun. Julius Randle 75% shooting from 3. We got to see I think a pretty good Donovan Mitchell game considering he was
injured, right.
Yeah, like he had some pretty nice shots.
He did, and like some of them were crazy, like fadeaway, like contested shots, and us being on like so close to the basket, like we could really see like how did that go in? It was crazy. It's like it's honestly like one of my shots, like that that goes in because like that's why me and Donovan like I feel like we relate so much in that.
Like he relates to you.
Well, I relate to him.
Yeah.
I know him. He doesn't really know me.
exactly.
Obviously,
Not yet,
NBA.
not yet.
Yeah, not yet. But
When he's a guest on the podcast in the future, like, he'll know you. But
yeah, of course, and we'll be best friends. But
he'll be on the Knicks at that point probably.
yeah, of
So
course. Yeah.
it'll be easy to get him on.
But I think like something that I relate to that is like I will take the worst shot sometimes, but sometimes I'm actually like feeling it. Like whatever I put up right now is gonna go in. And
I do think
Do you know what I'm saying?
I've seen you think that, and have it go in. I've also seen you think that and hit the side of the backboard. So
No, like I'll take that shot, but like I won't know until I release it from my hand. You know, I call game time and like I'll say like splash or like, I'll say like things like while it's in the air. Like Steph Curry, like he's turning around, like I'll do that because I like when it leaves my hands in the correct way, I just like feel it, and I think that's what like NBA players that are really good at those shots. Like that's what they're just able to hone that level of like feeling that and like be able to replicate it that much. I don't know. That's just my take on it. How do you feel?
No, I know what you mean. I mean, I think if you are like every NBA player, I would say is shooting based on feel because they've done it enough that like they're not actually thinking about any of the mechanics. Actually, maybe not every NBA player. There's one I can think of that probably is thinking about the mechanics, but I think he's overthinking them and he should stop.
Right.
Yeah, but in general, I think like exactly what you're saying is how like definitely every NBA player.
I think that's why like players like Giannis are like who are bad at free throw shooting.
Exactly. Yeah,
it's like you go practice it 1,000 times, which he probably has, right? But like if you just don't have that muscle memory and like that feel of it, it's so hard to like replicate.
I also think people underrate how much harder free throws are when you're like a big that person. Size. Yeah, especially that like proportions. I think people don't realize that it's actually a lot harder.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure it is hard, but there are players that are able to do it, like Jokic and Embiid.
Yeah,
they have like.
Well, that's what makes Embiid is crazy. Yeah. He's so good at free throws for someone that's that size.
Yeah.
Fun game.
We almost caught a shirt.
We don't need to talk about that.
I feel like I have to talk about this.
I feel like you need to talk about this with your therapist.
Bro, I could have gotten. When they shoot the T-shirt in the cannon, I would just leave it this. I could have gotten it, but somebody was just not being cooperative, and like I won't name who, but this is the second time a shirt was coming to me. It was in my vicinity, and I almost got it, but then something just came in the way. And as a kid who never got to really go to games, it was heartbreaking. But it was still a good game. I got a free shirt at like the Verizon.
We already got you one free shirt, so.
But I need the free shirts. That's what I live off. I'm the NBA merch
god.
Merch god. If you need some NBA merch, just like I have the Cleveland merch on ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was at the game. I was representing the Cavs, even though I was cheering for the Knicks. But I'm just a basketball fan.
Yeah.
That's what people don't realize. I'm the fan of the sport. And I think that's why, certain players, speak to me and I'll represent their team. That's
fair. That's totally fair.
But then the opposite where like I hate the player, so I hate the team. Unless there's a really good sale on their merch. Then, the Asian me takes over.
Yeah, right. But so that was the Knicks Cavs. Western Conference All-Stars. Is there anyone you would add to the team? Anyone you would take out? What do you think about Zion over Anthony Davis?
I think Zion over Anthony Davis.
They both missed a lot of time, so.
I think Zion being there was well deserved.
Really?
Because the Pelicans in like the beginning were like leading. I think they were like 1 or 2 for like a decent amount of time.
They were. I don't think they are anymore.
They're not anymore because I think Zion got hurt. Brandon Ingram got hurt.
Yeah, Ingram's back, but they've lost both games.
Because I think one of my takes was that like it was during the time when we were recording this when the Pelicans were doing good. I was like, the Pelicans team is actually super deep, and I still believe that. And I think they're like somewhat like the Knicks, where like they don't really have like. I mean, Zion is like kind of a superstar.
Yeah.
But like, he just makes it, and I think him being out all last year definitely like tainted his superstar like what people like in the media and like what people think about him.
He got dragged through the mud kind of.
He did, especially when he got fat. Dude, the memes were I felt bad.
Honestly, I think it kind of fucked him up, to be honest.
I feel like
understandable.
Yeah, because I feel like he had like just body issues and like the way he ate and stuff.
Body dysmorphia.
Mm-hmm.
What seed do you think the Pelicans are right now?
I think they went from the first seed to maybe 6.
They're 8.
8?
Yeah.
Damn, that's a big drop.
Okay. Guess who the Pelicans are tied with?
They're tied with the
Minnesota Timberwolves.
Damn, that's trash.
I know. The way people talk about those two teams is not equal.
It's not equal.
They have the exact same record. Okay, they don't actually have the same record. But they have they're the same number of games back.
Yeah. But that's because like the Timberwolves consistently were like dropping like easy games, while like the Pelicans like were really good, and then there was a big drop.
Yeah, I mean it's the same record though. Like you have to admit.
Yeah. No, they definitely the Timberwolves get a lot of hate for multiple reasons though. Like they just have like players that are just not likable. Like people don't like Rudy Gobert.
No, people hate Rudy Gobert.
People don't like
also hate
Cat.
Yeah.
Like they think he's like the softest big in the league.
Yeah.
And Anthony Edwards, I feel like people would like him, but because he's associated with people that aren't good, like
No, people love it. Anthony Edwards is
People do like him.
definitely popular relative to how good he is. I would
yeah.
say.
But I feel like because he's associated with Cat
Yeah.
and Rudy Gobert on like the Timberwolves,
Which
he
also,
gets like
not
yeah.
a popular city,
Yeah,
right? It's
but
not
so
like-
yeah, right. So I feel like he just like he's just part of the hatred toward it, and like D'Lo's kind of a memer,
yeah.
you know. So
D'Lo never has not been popular since the Lakers days.
yeah,
With the
really,
Swaggy
yeah.
P incident,
Well, I think he was popular on the Nets for a little bit.
kind of. But I think the Lakers fans will always hate D'Lo.
Yeah.
And the Lakers fans are much stronger than the Nets
The
fans.
thing
in
is,
terms,
like,
their
If Anthony Edwards or D'Lo were on the Lakers or like the Celtics, bro, people would be
like Anthony Edwards on the
hailing them,
Lakers
bro.
would be like MVP.
MVP,
Okay.
right? So
I got another suggestion or another
Mm.
take.
Right.
Do you agree or disagree with this? Sabonis over Zion and Anthony Davis for the All-Star team.
I actually heard about this on cause like on like Charles Barkley and
Mhm.
like Shaq and them were talking about it, and I think Sabonis is like he has such a boring play style that like it hurts, but he's really good. Right.
yeah. I think.
But I think he's not flashy, and
That's
like
fair.
in the game of basketball, you know, like people watch it for the flash. Like I think that's why it's like one of the best sports in like the world, because like people want to see Zion do crazy dunks, fly through the air, and like, but like that's not Sabonis' game, you know. And I think that definitely hurts him in why he was not picked to be an All-Star. You know, but I think he's like a really solid player. He's having like one of the best seasons he ever had.
Yep.
And because he's also on the Kings,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But I mean, the Kings are doing better than the Pelicans by far.
Yeah.
But I
Right,
think
which I feel like people don't really like.
people
Don't
really-
act like that.
They don't, right?
Yeah.
And like because like I feel like in the beginning of the season, when they traded away like Tyrese.
Yeah.
Right. They like lost like kind of a star basically.
Yeah, for no reason, really.
Right.
But-
And like Sabonis was not
Yeah.
equivalent at that time. It was good,
No, I would
but
say
in a different way.
when they were traded, Sabonis was the better player out of the two of them,
Okay.
but Tyrese Halliburton was considered the better prospect. Like
'Cause he was a
basically,
rookie, 'cause
yeah,
he-
people
yeah.
thought that Tyrese Halliburton had a lot more potential, and he
Mhm.
had because he's on a rookie contract, much more control long term. Right?
Right.
The team has him for like 5-6 years versus Sabonis, who can become a free agent in a few years.
Mhm.
So I think people mostly were like, why would you trade a young player
for like
for
yeah.
someone that's a little bit older, a little bit less potential? The thing is, it did
kind
kind
of
of
work out for both teams, right?
But the thing is also, like, in my opinion, the Kings will probably not finish with home court advantage in the end of the season.
they won't.
So, like, they traded a promising young player who, like, has kind of carried a pretty crappy Indiana team otherwise
Mhm.
for, like, to be the 5th seed in the West and probably lose in the first round. Like, I don't
It's
know.
kind of like yeah.
It's
I
like,
feel
the Clippers
both moves
Kings,
were
right? If everyone's healthy, who do you think's winning that series? It's like Clippers are going to be heavy favorites. Like Nuggets Kings, right? It's another heavy favorites for Nuggets. I don't know.
Mhm.
I think even though that trade worked out about as well as it could have, part of the reasons it was criticized was because the upside was not that high. And in
Yeah.
the best case scenario,
Mhm.
you're just like decent but not contender level team.
Yeah, but like the thing is, when you trade between two like mid-level, like at the time it was like two like very mid-level teams.
Yeah.
You know, like there's not gonna be much, because you're working with you're trading garbage with like garbage, and not garbage with garbage,
No,
but
I
like
know what you mean.
it's like you're trading not so great with not so great. I feel like a team would rather trade like if you're going from a really solid team to a really bad team. That's like it's like there's some
I
incentive
understand
there.
what you mean. They have different goals.
Right, they have
Whereas
different goals.
The Pacers and Kings, in some ways,
They
have
traded to be
overlapping goals.
relatively
Yeah.
the same but better. It worked out better for both teams, but like they're still not gonna win a championship most likely.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, part of what I think it is that for the Kings, they just wanted to be somewhat relevant. Like
Right.
that had a higher value for the Kings than almost any other team in the league because they had such a drought of success, right?
Mhm.
I think it's been like 19 years since they were in the playoffs.
Right.
So like for them, right, getting someone like Sabonis, who is really never going to be a championship level player because of his defensive limitations, is higher value for them because he'll get them into the playoffs, and that's all they really want.
Yeah.
Which is like kind of sad, right? In my opinion, every team should like be competitive for a championship, not just to be in the first round.
Well, I feel like I don't want to count them out yet. I feel like they could win the first round.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
Exactly. But
not-
that's what I'm
not
saying.
home.
We're talking about they could win in the first round. That means they're not that good.
Yeah, but like
It's
I mean,
not
you
even
could
like-
win the first round. You could win the second round. Maybe you never know.
No. There's
Always
if
There's
the
possibilities
Kings are in
always
the
there.
conference finals, I will Venmo you $100.
Okay. Oh, yo, this is on record
Absolutely.
right now.
Yeah. On the record, I will Venmo you $100 if the Kings are in the conference finals.
Do you think
It will not happen.
another thing? Do you think Kevin Huerter should be in the All-Star game?
No.
You're crazy.
I don't. I think Fox probably should be.
I think Fox should.
I think Fox and Sabonis both deserve to be there, and that's pretty sick.
Yeah, I think
It's
so.
like 2 players in the All-Star game. That's
De'Aaron
sick.
Fox. He's actually like very good. I feel like I slept on him.
Yeah, well, he had a few
But
rough years,
I
and
think yeah.
he's like never been and never going to be like a top guard in the league. But
Yeah, I feel
he
like
could
he's
be like one of the. He's like gonna be a guy who's like probably a 2 or 3 time All-Star. He's like some years he's like one of the better guards, not in the All-Star game. Some years he's one of the worst guards in it. Right, he's kind of right around that fringe level.
maybe like a Kemba Walker. You think?
Honestly, I think Kemba's like much better than De'Aaron
Much better.
Fox. I think that's like Kemba is actually like Kemba got clowned on for like the last few years of being like
That's true.
a walking corpse, but he was really good. Even as recently as when he was on the Celtics. Like Kemba's really good career. Like I would say like Kemba is like not Hall of Famer, but like he's like the tier below that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I respect that.
All right. So I think next idea is we got the trade deadline coming up. So I
Right.
think let's go through your many teams that you
teams.
support because there's like 6 of them.
Right.
And we'll see like, what you think they should do.
Yeah. We'll run it down.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Knicks. We'll talk about the
Exactly.
Knicks
What do you
first. I
think
feel
the
that's
Knicks
top
should do?
priority. So the Knicks right now, they're the 7th seed, correct?
7th seed.
And they're like borderline 6th seed, right?
Right.
And I think. So I was like, what are the goals of the Knicks, right? I think they're trying to get to the conference finals.
Conference finals?
I think they have the potential to.
Bro, that's
If they
insane.
make a good trade. Right.
A trade for like Kevin Durant. Yeah, I think he makes the conference finals.
So what do they need to do to make this happen? I think they have a contending team. Like their starting 3 are fire.
Okay.
I think they should be willing to give up Grimes.
Yeah.
I think they should be willing to give up IQ.
Damn. You give up IQ?
Yeah, I think you gotta keep what's it called? Brunson, RJ,
Absolutely.
and Randall.
Yeah.
And I think if you add 2 solid players next to that, they're winter not winter Eastern
Conference Finals.
like contenders.
So if you're talking about adding 2 quality players, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to use up like a lot of the resources they have.
But the thing is, I feel like this season has been going a lot better than what most people would think that the Knicks were gonna do with the Jalen Brunson trade.
I agree. I think that went or the Jalen Brunson signing. Yeah, I think that like signing
Right.
Jalen Brunson has gone about as well as it could have.
It could have, and I think I'm the type of guy to go in a casino, like put everything on black, and I'm not going home. I'm putting it on black again. You know what I'm saying? I'm doubling down. Like this
Right,
trade
if
went
it
so
hits,
well.
You're
Yeah, cause like then like you're golden, right? And
Yeah.
like the Knicks like being like kind of this close to being in like, you know what I'm saying? To be good, like decent playoff contenders is something that like it's fleeting, you know. And I don't know if like they're not good enough to what's it called throw for. They're not bad enough to
to
go
go for
Wemby,
Wembanyama. Yeah.
right? And you like future player prospects, you never know, right? There's all like a lot like up in the air, but like you kind of have a solid team now.
Yeah.
And I think like trying to like catch that before it's fleeting is definitely like something you can definitely go for. And I feel like right now the teams that were really good last year are kind of like disheveled. So like I feel like the NBA is kind of like in a weird place where like they could definitely win
So
Eastern Conference Final. Like I want like teams like Miami Heat and like the Bulls.
So to make it to the conference finals, Knicks would need to beat 2 of the following 5 teams in back-to-back series.
I'll tell you which ones I think they could beat.
Celtics, Bucks, Sixers, Nets, Cavs.
Okay.
So
I think-
depending on how the bracket plays,
But
out,
how the packet
they
plays,
need to beat
right.
2 out of those 5
So I'm gonna
in a
choose.
row.
I'm gonna choose give you 3 teams I think they could beat. I think they could beat the Cavs.
Damn.
I think they could beat the I had it in my head.
It's
Sixers. I think they could beat the
You
Sixers.
think they could beat Joel Embiid and the Sixers?
I think they could beat the Sixers.
How is Joel not averaging like 50 in that series?
Because like I said, foul merching isn't as strong.
That's fair.
I think that like with their
Him and Harden are going to go for their foul merchanting.
right,
yeah.
and I think that like they've had like their cold streaks before. Like I've owned like Joel Embiid for the whole season.
Yeah.
And he's had like a great season, but like that doesn't mean he can't be streaky.
Yeah, I mean, I would say he's arguably MVP right now.
He's MVP. Yeah,
yeah,
right.
it's like him or Jokic.
And I remember
Or
the
Luka.
Christmas game. It was very close.
It wasn't.
So I think they could.
Harden
It's
was also out for
possible
that game.
that
though.
they win this series. I'm just giving you teams that I think they could beat.
Okay.
All right. So I think they can definitely.
Okay.
beat
So we've got
the
Cavs, Sixers.
and I think they could beat the Bucks.
You think they could beat the Bucks
I think they beat the Bucks
with Giannis?
with Giannis.
Let's say Giannis is healthy.
Giannis is healthy.
Damn.
I think.
You think the Knicks could beat the Bucks? In a
I think
playoff series?
Giannis has shown like there's been games where he's been actually like stuffed and he'll like score like 10 points. I think he had like a 10-point, 12 rebound game, like maybe 4-assist game. And if you're able to shut them down, then I think they're able to lose. And they've lost to worse teams before.
Right, but losing in the regular season and losing in the playoffs are not the same thing.
Yeah, but I'm just saying like those are teams I think they could beat.
Okay.
So I don't think they could beat the Nets if they're all healthy. I don't think they beat the
we're
Celtics
we're
if they're all
assuming
healthy.
like the stars are healthy. Like maybe
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Marcus Smart is out.
Like,
something like that.
I'm
but,
not saying
yeah.
like they're going to win.
Yeah,
I'm
you're not
just
saying
saying
they're favorites. You're saying
there's a potential.
Yeah.
Right? And I think what I'm watching from that Cavs game is that like if we get lucky, like if we're hot,
65% from 3. You can win by 2 points. You just
Yeah.
need to do that 4 times out of 7.
no, but I'm saying like some games you'll like have to like use traditional basketball
Yeah.
moves and like win that way, but it's definitely possible. I'm not gonna say it's easy, but like once you get to the playoffs, nothing's easy. And I like worse teams have made a better run. So
Honestly, I don't think so. I think this would be one of the worst.
the Miami Heat last year.
The Miami Heat are so much better, or last year's Miami Heat were so much better than the Knicks this year. The Miami Heat last year had a like top 20, top 15 player in Jimmy Butler. Like
Who?
Jimmy Butler.
Oh, Jimmy
Like
Butler, right?
Jimmy Butler is much better.
But I think
anyone.
Bam could be fraudulent. If
But
Max
Bam
Strus
is,
isn't
like-
his shots, Kyle Lowry's kind of washed. They don't have like Duncan Robinson's kind of like got exposed, and Tyler Hero's having a great game this season, but he's definitely like it's possible they're not playing as strong. And I think in the playoffs, Bam wasn't as solid, and I think if we're able to like maximize that, and if he's not having a good game, I think it's possible. Jimmy's getting older too. I feel like the Heat aren't as good as this year as they were last year. You know, I think that's just a possibility. And I think if we're able to
Right.
trade, like I'm talking about like if we make some trades, like those
Yeah.
like things can happen. Like we don't know. Like obviously this is up in the air. But if anyone can make things happen, it's those Knicks 3.
That's this is okay. So I disagree. I think the Knicks' goal this year for this season would be to make it to 6, to avoid the play-in, which is like high variance, right? It's a bunch of best of ones basically. And the teams actually in the play-in are going to be pretty good in the East. It'll be like,
Right.
Raptors, Pacers, Bulls, Wizards, Hawks, Miami. Like those are all
Yeah.
like, there's no like totally free wins in there,
Right.
right? Especially with like everyone has at least a pretty good player that could get hot in like a short series. So I think the Knicks want to acquire a player that can help them get to that 6th position, who is probably also going to be on the team next year. So not like a half-season rental.
Right.
That's why I do think they have a decent chance to trade for OG Anunoby, because I think he kind of fits that, right? He
Right.
has this season, rest of this season, and next year under contract, so they can get him. He makes them better, right? They probably give up like 2 firsts, like Grimes, something like that.
Right.
Maybe like Emmanuel Quickley instead of Grimes, like someone of that level. He makes them better. They hopefully, I actually think they probably are still like under 50% chance to make it to 6, get out of the plan. But if they do, they get 2 home games at least for the playoffs.
Right.
It's been a while. The last, I guess there was that Hawks series, which like was kind of lit, despite the fact they
Yeah.
got destroyed.
It's a good rivalry though.
But yeah, exactly. It led to a good rivalry. Like
Yeah.
I think that's what they want to do. I think so. I had said earlier, if the Kings make the conference finals, I will give you $100. If the Knicks make the conference finals, I will give you $200. Like, I am so confident there's a 0% chance they make it to the conference finals. Like,
All right. Well. I mean, like, I'll
there's
see, bro.
there's now $300 up in the air, and I am so confident I'm going to be holding all of it in April. Like,
All right. You know.
I think they are so far from. It
There's-
would be
there's a
like
couple
one of the
moves.
craziest conference finals runs ever.
And then you told me that like Sadiq Bey is as a possibility to
Yeah.
go up there. I feel like that Sadiq Bey could be like that guy.
No, I disagree.
really?
I think Sadiq Bey is like a bench player, basically.
I don't think so. I think he could be like a solid role player.
Yeah, I guess he could be like yeah, I think it's very competitive at the like shooting wing position, right?
Yeah, yeah, because
So it's hard
everyone
to-
wants
yeah.
to shoot, you know.
Exactly.
And I think that could work. I feel like one of the things that the Knicks kind of moved away from actually was like that shooter role. I feel like that shooter role kind of got eliminated when they eliminated Evan Fournier.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, like the catch and shoot guy.
Yeah,
Obviously Grimes is kind of that guy now, but he has like a deeper bag that he's able to drive. He's able to, you know, make some plays, like guard decently. So if they're able to find like a shooter who can also guard, you know, I think that would like OG,
right. I think
as a player.
OG is
maybe
like
Tyrese,
their
maybe.
most realistic target.
Yeah.
All right. Next question.
Yeah.
Cleveland Cavaliers. Do you make any move, or do you think you got a solid squad? They were like at the top of the Eastern Conference before injuries happened. You think just stand pat with this group, or would you trade Karis LeVert, who is absolute garbage? Like
He is really
he's
garbage.
so bad. Like,
We watching him play, I realized that he really doesn't have any like idea what he's gonna do. I feel like, or like he does. He's like, I'm gonna try this, or it doesn't work. I'm gonna try this, it doesn't work, because he's just not good enough, right? And then like he just chucks up the worst shot.
well, I think to play his game in the NBA with how athletic defenders are,
Yeah.
you need to be like
Top to top,
exactly
top
right,
level,
and like
right.
he is most likely able to score on anyone that is not in the NBA, like any international league.
Mhm.
But it's just that in the NBA, it's so hard to play the way he wants to play that I
Right.
think. But yeah, he does
And
not
I
look
feel like
good
he's
on the
like
Cavs. Like
his handles are like subpar to that
yeah,
for that what he wants to do.
takes a lot of shots.
And and I feel like on offense he's kind of predictable.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Definitely.
And
But
that
so
definitely hurts him.
would you trade anything, or you think like they've just got a decent squad?
I feel like
They're
they
all
actually have a
young.
decent squad
Yeah.
that they don't need to make any moves. I feel like they could trade Karis LeVert, but I think any team that like takes him or any move that he
Like,
will
they're not going to
make
get someone that good.
is
back.
not going to be that good. And I want to say that the Cavs actually have a really solid team. I think they can make a great, like a decent run, similar to the Knicks.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Cavs could make a great run. I totally.
Yeah.
I don't think they're like likely
And-
to be in the conference finals, but to me, they are a
Mhm.
team that with the right bracket, get hot. Like they could make it to the conference finals. And the nice thing is, those guys are all so young. They've got them for
Right.
like minimum 3 more years.
Mm-hmm.
They can say like, this is the year we're going to get a good amount of playoff experience, grow. Wait for some of the other like top guys in the Eastern
To, like-
Conference, like KD. Yeah,
Yeah, right,
exactly.
to dip
yeah,
out.
like get a little older, and then they go all in.
Right.
Like maybe 2
And make
years
some
from now,
trades
next
and
year.
then
Yeah.
make some moves to like really solidify
Right,
that
exactly.
in there. But right now, I actually really like the Cavs team. I think they're
Oh,
very
yeah.
deep,
They're a very solid team.
and I think as of right now, face value, they definitely look better than the Knicks. Just face value.
Not even close.
Okay.
Okay, next team, the Mavericks.
I was gonna
Yeah.
bring up the Mavericks.
What do you think the move here is?
So the Mavericks actually right now are the 6th seed. They're
Yeah.
actually doing decently well,
Right, they were the 5th seed last year. They made it to the conference finals. So,
right? And I think Luka has some playoff experience.
oh yeah, Luka.
I
Actually,
think
like
Luka,
low key, if you look at like his playoff averages, they're like amazing.
they're amazing. And
Yeah.
I think it's crazy to think that I feel like if Luka was on like a better team, like the Grizzlies, say you replace
Oh,
Ja, they would probably win a championship. I'm not gonna
oh
lie.
yeah, they would be so fucking
Like-
stacked. Like if Jaren Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bain, Jaren Jackson Jr. this year, I think Bain has been he's been injured, not quite as good this year as last year. But
Right.
like those two, if you take like their best seasons, are better than anyone Lucas played with.
Yeah.
Maybe KP, but like unfortunately, like KP
Had a lot of
never
injuries during
yeah,
the time
like
too.
he only like kind of rose back up
Yeah.
after he got traded from the Mavericks.
I feel like I think KP
I would say
had
caliber
like
of player though. He was
yeah,
an
caliber
all-star,
of player, especially when he got traded from the Knicks.
Yeah.
But
oh yeah.
Also, like, I feel like he was soft when he was on the Mavs, and he got harder a little bit on the Wizards. So he had like a
Yeah.
little mental check. I feel like that he had changed.
It's
But-
kind of interesting. I mean, part of that could be that he just like never really got to like handle the ball or like do that much on offense with Luka there.
Right.
Like I think he is a harder player to play with than people realize because
Yeah.
he's so ball dominant. But like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like definitely like that Grizzly squad is if you put Luka on there, and obviously you maybe had like I guess Tyus Jones is probably good enough to like replace you know what I mean, be the point guard. But like yeah, there's probably need a starting point guard there. But yeah, like on that level of team, they're winning a championship with Luka, like for sure.
Yeah. And then like, cause I feel like they like their team, like the Grizzly team and the Mavs team are almost the exact same like copy. I feel like, but like they're just so much better, right? So like you have instead of what's it called Dennis
Dorian
Finney Smith, you have Desmond Bane shooting that 3-ball, and instead of Spencer Dinwiddie, you have like Dylan Brooks or who is able to control the ball, and
instead of Christian Wood, you have Jaren Jackson Jr.
Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yeah.
Who's who I think plays like a team where you have like a really ball heavy point guard very well.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
Instead of like Christian Wood, who like I don't know what he does.
He
Like,
wants to be the point guard himself.
Sometimes I feel like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, you shoot the 3, but bro, I need you in the paint.
Although his 3-point shooting is actually kind of cracked. Like,
It is kind of good, but like that's because they like the center leaves him like he shoots pretty open. Like I wouldn't say he like.
But
shoots
if you're a
open.
center, you just need to make open threes. Like
Yeah.
you can make
Like
open
Brook
threes.
Lopez.
Exactly. Like you're so
Yeah.
good at center. Okay, so we've established Mavericks, unlike the Grizzlies, if they had Luka, probably not going to win a championship this year.
Yeah, right.
You think they should try to improve and try to make another like conference finals type run this year, or do you
Mhm.
think like they should try to trade away guys like Christian Wood, Spencer Dinwiddie, and get resources to make a run in the future?
I think they should spend a lot of resources to win now.
Yeah, I agree.
Because-
if you have Luka, like he wants to win, right? If
Yeah.
you start, he's now like what's
Mhm.
his 4th year in the league?
Yeah,
right?
I think 4th. Yeah.
Yeah, like
You don't want him to be like a Damian Lillard.
Exactly,
bro,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
And he's kind of like getting like depressed, and he's like,
yeah.
is it even worth trying? Like that type of vibe.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like the other teams who are like above him right now, they're not old. They're like young players that like will only continue to get better, right?
Yeah.
I think like I don't see Jokic slowing down anytime soon.
No
I don't see Ja Morant slowing down anytime unless there's like career
injuries. Yeah, but
Yeah, but like what are the Grizzlies
Yeah.
team in general? Because Jaren Jackson's also pretty young.
definitely
Kings are like
pretty young.
I would say. The
Booker's
only team
actually pretty young. Zion's
Warriors,
young.
yeah, they're like
Warriors
they're
are-
up and coming. They're
Warriors
just.
are headed to the retirement home.
I would say
despite
maybe like the only team that isn't getting younger is like the Clippers,
yeah.
but like the other team just being like so young, like don't
Yeah.
wait, right? But like the thing is, like let's talk about what moves they can do to get better.
This is like the sad thing. There's honestly nothing. Like it's basically nothing.
How about
They don't.
the Thunder?
What do you like? They should trade with the Thunder.
Yeah, like how about like Lou Dort?
Lou Dort would be great on the Mavs, but they don't have like the Thunder
Dort-
won't trade him to.
I think what if like Lou Dort for like Spencer Dinwiddie?
Yeah, the Thunder would 100% not do that. The problem for the Mavericks is they do have a lot of their picks back from when they traded for KP because they have conveyed and time. You get them because you can't trade picks after a certain point. So over time, you'll always get them back. But
Right.
they can't like send 2 first-round picks for OG Anunoby right now because they need to save those to trade for like a top-tier star when one comes available to pair him with Luka. Like
Yeah.
Luka, you basically need another like top 15 player, right? Or top 20 player. So they have to save their like best first-round picks or their best assets, which are first-round picks, for like a top-tier player.
Well, isn't
and
that
they don't
like,
have any like mid-tier players or young players
Yeah,
that are really
yeah,
that
right.
good. Like no one really wants Josh Green, right? If anything, like they can't trade Josh Green. He's like a key piece for them.
right.
So I think like the Mavericks team has like basically if you do not have the Hawks willing to trade Luka for Trae Young, like they've done nothing else. They've had no other good moves really in the past few years. So they're just in a
Honestly,
bad position.
What if
and-
they got Rui Hachimura instead of the Lakers?
right?
I
Like
think that
that's
could have been solid.
that's like the type of move that they could make.
They should have
though,
made.
just for like a bench player. Like,
Yeah.
it's not gonna change their.
Well, I feel like
ultimate,
I'm trying to think. What
fate.
what players? How about what if they got like a Fred VanVleet?
That's going to cost too much, I think.
You think that's going to cost a lot?
Minimum 2 first-round picks. And the thing is, the Raptors most likely will want, in general, teams will want picks and a pretty good young player.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, the picks are unknowns, right?
Yeah.
So you want to get picks that have high upside, right? The picks could be like, a top 5 pick. But then you also want a young player that you know what you're getting. So if the pick's totally bust, right, like that,
Like
the
you
team's
still
really
won't.
good,
You still have some equity.
something. Exactly. You have something that you can have right now that you're not, you're establishing a floor for the trade.
It's true.
And I don't think.
It's
Like something they could. So this is a really popular move that people have suggested. I don't think it'll actually happen. But Tim Hardaway Jr. for Karis LeVert.
I don't know if they get that better though.
They don't, right? That's
They
the
don't.
problem. They don't.
I was gonna say like they're almost the same exact player.
No,
But
no,
I
because LeVert much better ball handling, Hardaway much better shooting.
Yeah, but I feel like they need a shooter though. I feel like they should have you know what they should have gotten like last year? They should have got Kevin Huerter. I feel like they got Kevin Huerter. It could have changed the team. I think they would have been a lot
Kevin
better.
Huerter is a good player who is probably paid more than is like his value. So you kind of needed him to go to a team like the Kings where they're willing to overpay,
Overpay for like a shittier player.
Yeah, a good player who it's like he's negative value probably, but still really good or still pretty good. Because of what the situation I described with them, where they just want to make it to the playoffs. It's harder to build a championship level team with the constraint of having Kevin Huerter on your payroll because he makes it harder to sign other good players.
How about
even
this?
Though he's good himself.
We trade away like Reggie Bullock
Oof.
and Josh Green for Duncan Robinson.
That could happen.
And
That'd
that
be a horrible
could-
trade. Duncan Robinson sucks.
Yo, but like what Luka needs is just like someone to pass to that makes their threes, and his 3-point shot percentage works because like you know how they play against like the Mavs, they'll double Luka, and then but the thing is when you have like Dorian Finney-Smith and like Tim Hardaway who are cold shooting threes, then like I feel like you need someone who's a bigger threat at the 3, so they can't double Luka or like they're hesitant to do it, and Luka can cook.
I mean, honestly,
so like that's the main thing.
That's kind of Reggie Bullock though.
Reggie Bullock sucks, dude.
This year he's shot really poorly.
Yeah,
but like,
and Dorian
his
Finney-Smith,
career.
that was supposed to be Tim Hardaway, right? And kind of Spencer Dinwiddie, and like they're not shooting well. Like I've seen, like they lost. I remember like the Pistons game where like I had a parlay. They just needed to win.
It's a bad
doubled
memory.
every time. They break like 5 out of 5 shot like open threes. Like this is like open gym practicing shots.
Yeah.
Like in order to just like kind of maintain the lead, and Luka was fucking pissed, right? Like you just like I'm like, bro, like put me in that position. I'll make at least one of those 5. Luka, you need me, bro. Like
10 day.
put me
10
in.
day.
Yeah, and then so like that's why I think like they're just not that big of a threat, and I think that just hurts them so much.
All right, next team. This team has already made a move.
Lakers.
The Los Angeles Lakers. What is one player you want to see get traded to the Lakers that you think could help them improve their standing, make it to the playoffs, right?
Yeah. I think they need Kyle Kuzma back.
Kyle Kuzma, really? So you think they traded Kyle Kuzma for Russ?
Yes.
They should now like go back to the Wizards and say we want to do.
Because think about it. If Kyle Kuzma was on the Lakers right now, they'd be a top 3 team.
That's not
in the
true.
Western Conference.
That's still cap.
That's not cap.
That's cap.
That's not cap.
They would.
LeBron, AD, Kyle Kuzma playing right now, and the same thing. They're carrying the Wizards, who are a bum team.
Okay, but
bro.
you have to remember that Kuzma does
here.
not take as many shots on Lakers if he's on the Lakers than right now on the Wizards.
No, like they have Westbrook taking just as many shots. They have him taking 15 shots a game.
Yeah.
So, but then like Kyle Kuzma, who's just hotter, who like is another option for LeBron to pass to. So instead of LeBron scoring 40, 10, and 10, he'll do like 25, 10, and 15.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Then Kuzma
like
gets like 18.
right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, but like obviously that 25, 10, and 15 is better basketball, and it will lead to more wins. I feel like that could be a move, or like someone of that caliber team. I feel like the Lakers, like obviously could win a championship. We saw that in the bubble,
In the bubble.
right? And with like not that different of a squad.
I would say the role players were way
Were better. They had Alex
way
Caruso,
better.
right?
Yeah.
They had
KCP.
KCP,
Yeah.
right? But then like I don't know why they like traded those players, even though those players are still good. KCP was still good at the
They
time.
had Kuzma in the bubble.
They did?
Yeah.
Oh, they traded mid-season.
They
though?
traded him for Westbrook after the bubble.
Oh, see, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
they traded like these young players who were really good,
Right.
you know. And then I don't know what the hell they're doing. They're like trying to tank for Wemby or something. But like they could have like had a dynasty with that team. And like I feel like those are the players they need to trade for now. Like their role players are like this Brown, like Troy Brown or something,
Yeah.
or like
Lonnie Walker Jr.
Gabriel, like something
Yeah.
Gabriel.
Yeah.
I'm like, who the hell are these people? Or like
Yeah.
Toscano. I'm like, bro,
Juan Toscano Anderson.
dude, get out of here, man. Like these people are actually so bad. I'm like, who are you?
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, even those shitty players are making shots because they're open, because like they'll double team LeBron and they'll double team AD. So like they just have to be on wing shooter, like this, you know. And but the thing is, Kyle Kuzma, they'll open up everything.
Yeah.
I think you just need to open up.
It would be really unfortunate if they did that though, because they would have originally traded Kuzma. So I think KCP, maybe one other player, and at least one first round pick for Westbrook. And now they'd be going back to the
Right.
Wizards and saying, "Okay, can we give you back Westbrook and a first round
Obviously,
pick?"
that's
for
not
Kuzma?
realistic. So I'll give you a more realistic.
That would be such an L. I mean,
I'll give you a
I
more
don't
realistic
disagree. It would
outcome.
make them better. It just
No.
shows how misguided and negative that Westbrook trade was. It
That was,
really
yeah,
like
right.
completely shut off the chance for them to win another championship with LeBron and a top 20 to 15 player AD.
No.
Like
And that's
the
karma,
hard part
you
is
know
getting
what I'm
those two players, right? Like
Yeah.
once you have them, you just fill out with role players, but they wanted to go for this like 3 stars approach. I think they just one of the worst trades
one
in
of
the
the
last
worst.
few years. They just
saying? Yeah.
completely shot
Like
themselves in the
hindsight
foot.
to when the trade happened. And then do you know what they try to do? I'm gonna tell you what they try to do. They try to do what the Golden State Warriors did when they got Boogie and KD. But the thing is, when you get like those are like kind of like they're like golden. They're like on, you know what I'm saying? But Westbrook was, I mean, he was gone to the Wizards, but he's not like I don't think he was in the as high of a prospect of like this guy's gonna be good for like for a long
And I mean,
time.
the Warriors got Boogie
So.
for basically like the minimum.
Yeah.
They didn't actually.
But I mean,
pay
Boogie
him.
got injured. Like
He was
and
injured
became
when they
kinda-
signed
when
him.
they signed him.
It
and
was
then
more
they
of like that was
became
more of a
useless.
name thing. Than,
Yeah.
like he never really meaningfully played for them.
Yeah, but I'm saying like that was like the start of like these kind of super teams, and like I think Lakers tried to do it, and they got karma. That's karma for them. Because the thing is, like when like the Golden State Warriors are like the devil, right? When you make devil like trades, they'll work for you. But if you're a golden pure team like the Lakers,
The Lakers, who are pure and gold.
pure and golden, baby, you know how it is. Then like like anything that comes out of Lakers is great. Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma,
Lonzo Ball.
Okay, before he got injured, he was also really solid on that Bulls team, right? Alex
Caruso, yeah.
right. I could think of more like kind of D'Lo
D'Lo,
when
yeah,
he first came out,
D'Lo's a one-time All-Star,
and also he's doing really well right now too.
For sure.
So, like gold comes out of the like
gold comes out of the purple and gold.
exactly. That's what I gotta say. I got like
Yeah.
the Lakers. They're the Angels, and the Golden State Warriors are the Devils, man.
Right,
So-
so the Devils can do
Yeah.
like demonic
The-
moves,
demonic
the soulless,
moves, yeah.
but the Lakers need to.
but once
yeah,
the Angels try to like
go down to that level,
go to that
yeah.
level, it's gonna hurt them.
It's a great lesson for everyone, I think.
It is. I think like you gotta stay in your lane. Stay with what you do.
Okay, so I think last team that at least I think you're a fan of, if I'm missing any, let me know, is the Memphis Grizzlies. I think they probably don't need to make any moves, right? Like
They
this-
don't. They're second seed right now, right? They're a solid team. If they stay healthy, they can they can win the champ. Like they are like championship contenders, or at least like they're
Yeah.
Western Conference contenders.
I mean, it's interesting, right? Like most of the time, the team that wins the championship is a top 3 seed, right? In the Western Conference, that's Nuggets, Memphis, and Sacramento. So
yeah. But you know what? I see the Grizzlies being those 3 teams. But you know what? I don't see them beating the Nets or the Celtics.
Yeah.
So that and like this is like kind of like the first time in a while where like the top 3 in each team,
Yeah.
team, I think the East Coast wins.
Oh, Eastern Conference
Yeah,
is much stronger.
Right,
this
and I
year,
think
yeah.
that's kind of rare. Before it was like the Suns, which were really good,
Yeah.
right, and the Golden State Warriors are really good, and then like the third team would be like very solid. Like it would be the Grizzlies, it'd be like the Nuggets, right? But
Plus,
now
a lot of the good guys just got traded to the East, like Harden, KD. They're all in the Eastern.
So
Even, like Donovan
East Coast,
Mitchell's in the
baby.
Eastern Conference now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the East runs the NBA for the first time in a while.
True.
Since LeBron. Yeah.
I think it's I would say it's pretty. I would say like 60+% chance that Eastern Conference team wins.
Yeah, I think so too. So place your bets.
Yeah. I have my bet was placed at the start of the season.
It was for who?
Clippers.
Clippers? You're a fucking piece of shit.
I bet the Clippers before the season started.
That's why I got you the Clippers backpack.
I know, dude. I'm
I don't
standing
believe in
by
the
that
Clippers.
bet.
I
If
stand
I
by
could
the
go back in
Sixers.
time, I would bet more money on it. If
Sixers.
anything.
I think what I said. Sixers Grizz was
I
mine.
think you did say that. That's kind of a fire pick, honestly.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun series.
They're both like second seed, I think too.
Yeah, the Sixers moved up a lot. They went on like a crazy win streak.
Yeah. So
All right. I think
that's
anything else you wanna discuss on this episode?
no, nothing much. I think anything else. Like I think we covered what's happened so far.
We did, yeah.
Yeah. The teams that have been playing, have been really good. I feel like the basketball right now is like it's pretty entertaining.
It is.
There's a lot
I
of good
agree.
teams, a lot of good different possibilities.
Definitely.
The Warriors aren't like, fuck the Warriors.
The Warriors aren't ruining the league.
They're not winning the league.
How would you feel if they won another championship?
I'd probably jump off to the Brooklyn Bridge. Bro.
Yeah, I think you're safe, but like,
You never like
you
playoff,
never know. With
playoff Golden State. Like
yeah.
I gotta give it to them.
with the
there's something in
demonic
there.
teams, like,
Bro, they've sacrificed too many
yeah,
virgins.
yeah,
They can't go back anymore.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
Well, thank you for listening. Have a great
Yeah.
rest of your week, and
Yeah,
we'll see you
keep it
soon.
icy.
Keep it icy as always.
Yeah.